Today, we're diving into the dark and mysterious side of wealth, the secret societies that are rumored to control the economy itself. From ancient orders and Ivy League tombs to billion-dollar conferences hidden behind closed doors, these groups have fueled centuries of conspiracy, curiosity, and fear. Welcome to the Money Compendium, where we pull back the velvet curtain on wealth, power, and the forces that shape the world's economy. Number 1. The Illuminati. Officially founded in Bavaria in 1776, the group began as a society of Enlightenment philosophers, men who wanted to challenge religious control, promote reason, and create a more rational world. But when Bavaria outlawed secret societies in 1785, the Illuminati seemingly vanished. Rumors spread that the group went underground, infiltrating Masonic lodges and royal courts. By the 19th century, pamphlets and pulp novels claimed the Illuminati were manipulating kings and economies alike. The 20th century gave the myth new life, linking the group to powerful banking families, world leaders, and even pop culture figures. The Eye of Providence on the US dollar bill, the pyramid, the hidden meaning in song lyrics, all became evidence of their reach. There's no proof the original Illuminati survived past the 1700s, but their myth endures. Whether you believe they're masterminds, pulling strings behind closed doors, the Illuminati remain the gold standard of conspiracy. But the next group on our list never vanished without a trace. They built their own fortress of influence right in the heart of one of America's elite universities. Number 2. Skull and Bones. If the Illuminati were born in the age of monarchs, Skull and Bones was born in the age of American empire. Hidden inside a windowless stone building on Yale's campus, known simply as the Tomb, this society has shaped generations of power. Founded in 1832, Skull and Bones selects just 15 seniors each year, tapped in an initiation that's part ritual, part lifetime contract. The member list reads like a who's who of American influence: presidents, senators, and countless figures in banking, law, and intelligence. Legend goes that Bonesmen use their network to secretly elevate each other into positions of power, steering money, policy, and influence through personal loyalty rather than public process. And because everything inside the tomb is sworn to secrecy, speculation fills the gaps. The rituals, the skull and crossbones imagery, even rumors of stolen relics, all of it fuels the belief that Skull and Bones isn't just a fraternity, but a grooming ground for America's ruling class. The question isn't whether it exists, it's what happens behind those locked doors. And while Skull and Bones rules from college crypts, the next group operates on a global stage, where billionaires and political elites meet in luxury hotels to discuss the future of the world. Number 3. The Bilderberg Group. Unlike many secret societies, the Bilderberg Group doesn't hide its existence. First convened in 1954 at the Hotel de Bilderberg in the Netherlands, the group was founded to strengthen cooperation between Europe and North America after World War II. But over time, the guest list began to raise eyebrows. Heads of state, royal families, central bankers, oil executives, and military leaders, all gathering behind closed doors with no press, no minutes, and no transparency. Officially, it's a conference for open dialogue. Unofficially, critics see it as a private parliament of the global elite. Conspiracy theories claim that attendees shape economic trends, trigger wars, and decide who leads nations long before elections take place. Cameras are banned, and attendees are instructed never to repeat what's discussed. Many speculations circle around their true nature, but the reality is murky, part high-level think tank, part symbol of how disconnected global power has become from public accountability. But while they operate under a modern corporate mask, the next organization wears the weight of centuries, cloaked in ritual, architecture, and symbols carved in stone. Number 4. The Freemasons. They're everywhere, yet somehow still secret. Originating from medieval stonemason guilds, the Freemasons evolved into one of the world's oldest fraternal orders by the early 18th century. Their lodges became meeting places for scholars, revolutionaries, and leaders who valued brotherhood, philosophy, and moral discipline. Symbols like the square and compass, the all-seeing eye, and the unfinished pyramid became shorthand for Masonic ideals, and later, the foundation for countless conspiracy theories. Many of America's founding fathers were Freemasons, including George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and Paul Revere. Their influence helped shape early American values, liberty, reason, and structured hierarchy. But their visibility on the dollar bill and in architecture gave rise to whispers. Were they really building a democracy or a hidden hierarchy? Historians largely agree that Freemasonry is not a covert government, but its structure, layered degrees of initiation, secret handshakes, coded rituals, makes it easy to see why people think otherwise. It's a society obsessed with moral geometry, yet accused of shaping the architecture of power itself. And while Freemasonry tied philosophy to power, the next group takes that connection even further, blending economics, aristocracy, and conspiracy into one enduring theory of global control. Number 5. The Committee of 300. If the Illuminati is the mythic origin of secret power, the Committee of 300 is its modern-day heir. Sometimes called the Olympians, this group was thrust into the spotlight by former British intelligence officer Dr. John Coleman, who claimed it to be an elite council of banking dynasties, corporate magnates, and royal bloodlines controlling the world from the shadows. According to Coleman, this cabal influences everything, from oil prices and media narratives to drug policy and global population control. He named the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and Windsors as core members, alleging that major institutions like the IMF, World Bank, and the Club of Rome act as their instruments. Critics have dismissed his claims as speculation and paranoia. But what keeps the theory alive is how often powerful interests seem to align, as if by design rather than coincidence. The Committee of 300 represents a familiar fear that the world's wealth is controlled not by nations but by wealthy elites. Whether it's myth or misdirection, it captures a timeless truth about money and influence. Power prefers the shadows. And as we move from whispered cabals to real dynasties, one name stands above them all, a family whose fortune and legend have shaped global finance for centuries: the Rothschilds. Number 6. The Rothschild Family. When people talk about dynasties that shaped the modern world, one name towers above the rest: the Rothschilds, the family that turned gold into influence and banking into an empire. The story begins in the 18th century with Mayer Amschel Rothschild, a coin dealer in Frankfurt. His genius was placing each of his 5 sons in Europe's financial capitals, creating a network that could move money faster than could governments. In an era before wire transfers, this was revolutionary. The Rothschilds could fund wars, rebuild nations, and influence kings all without firing a single shot. By the mid-19th century, they financed railways, infrastructure, and even the British government during the Napoleonic Wars. Their discreet operations and coded letters made them the world's first true multinational bankers. But secrecy breeds suspicion, and soon their immense influence gave rise to myths of control. That they owned central banks, manipulated markets, or even engineered world events. Today, while the Rothschilds' financial dominance has waned, their legend has not. Conspiracy theories still cast them as puppet masters behind the Federal Reserve or the IMF, despite there being no verifiable evidence. When a single family's legacy reshapes money itself, you start to wonder who else might be doing the same thing. And that question leads us deep into the woods of California, where the world's elite gather beneath the trees. Number 7. Bohemian Grove. Hidden among the redwoods of Monte Rio, California, lies a place that feels like myth, the Bohemian Grove. Some of the world's most powerful men retreat there for 2 weeks of secrecy, ritual, and supposed relaxation. But what happens in those woods has fueled decades of speculation. The Grove's membership reads like a history book of influence. Former U.S. presidents, top executives, military generals, and media moguls. Officially, it's a private social club founded in 1872 for creative and political minds to unwind. Unofficially, many believe it's where policies are discussed before they ever reach Washington. The saying goes, "Weaving spiders come not here," meaning no business is to be conducted. Footage captured by journalist Alex Jones in 2000 revealed the now infamous cremation of care ceremony, a theatrical ritual involving hooded figures, torches, and a giant 40-foot owl statue named Moloch. To members, it's a harmless pageant. But to the public, it looked like powerful men gathering together to perform occult rituals. Whether it's harmless networking or something stranger, Bohemian Grove represents the blending of wealth, secrecy, and ritual. And from the forests of California, our trail now winds into the marble halls of faith and influence, where a mysterious Catholic order has its own brand of secrecy. Number 8. Opus Dei. Founded in 1928 by Spanish priest Josemaria Escrivá, the group's mission was to bring spirituality into everyday life, to sanctify work, and live out divine purpose in ordinary careers. On paper, it's a message of discipline, faith, and moral excellence. But in practice, secrecy and hierarchy have made Opus Dei one of the most misunderstood institutions on earth. The Catholic Church granted Opus Dei special status in 1982, making it a personal prelature, meaning it reports directly to the Pope, not local bishops. That unusual autonomy, combined with its recruitment of political, academic, and financial elites, has fueled claims that Opus Dei is the Vatican's shadow influence network. Stories of hidden mortification practices, elite members in government, and clandestine funding only add to the aura. Pop culture, especially the Da Vinci Code, transformed that image into something darker, an order manipulating global events through piety and power. Opus Dei schools, banks, and think tanks have undeniably shaped policy in Europe and Latin America. Whether you see them as saints or strategists depends on which side of the altar you stand on. Because in the world of secret influence, faith and finance often walk hand in hand. And that's exactly where our next group comes in, one founded not on religion, but on global cooperation that many believe crosses the line into quiet control. Number 9. The Trilateral Commission. Imagine a private council where the world's political and business leaders meet to discuss the future, not for one nation, but for all. That's the Trilateral Commission, founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller and Zbigniew Brzezinski. Their goal was to strengthen ties between North America, Europe, and Japan, the three poles of industrial power. But to critics, it looked like something else entirely: the framework for a global government run by the elite. Members have included U.S. presidents like Jimmy Carter, corporate leaders like Henry Kissinger, and central bankers who shape monetary policy across continents. The Commission doesn't make laws, but its influence is undeniable. When its alumni dominate international organizations like the IMF, World Bank, and United Nations, people start connecting dots. Brzezinski's own writings argued for a technotronic era, where technology and elites manage global society. That vision, while academic, sounded eerily close to a world run by algorithms and unelected experts. The line between coordination and control blurred. Defenders say it's a think tank promoting diplomacy. Skeptics see a grooming ground for a one-world economy. And speaking of global decision-makers, our final entry takes us to Davos, Switzerland, where the wealthy and powerful gather not in secret halls or lodges, but under the bright lights of world media. Yet somehow, it feels even more hidden. Number 10. The World Economic Forum, WEF. Once a simple conference on economic cooperation, the World Economic Forum has become the modern face of elite power. Founded by Klaus Schwab in 1971, its annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland, brings together heads of state, billionaires, academics, and celebrities to improve the state of the world. But many see something else: a global boardroom where the future is decided without a single vote cast by the people affected. On paper, the WEF promotes sustainability, equality, and innovation. In reality, critics argue its agendas favor corporate consolidation and centralized control. The most infamous phrase, "You'll own nothing and be happy," from a 2016 WEF publication, was meant as a prediction, not a command. But it ignited fears of a future where private property, privacy, and autonomy vanish under the banner of progress. From digital currencies to climate policies, the WEF's initiatives often appear before they're implemented worldwide, fueling claims that Davos isn't about discussion, but coordination. The optics don't help. Jets flying in elites to discuss carbon reduction, luxury galas celebrating sustainability, and policy buzzwords that sound more like directives. Schwab's concept of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, blending AI, biotech, and data into society, promises efficiency but raises the question, who's programming the future? Critics say Davos represents the same thing every secret society in history has: concentrated power, just with better branding. Because whether it's the Illuminati of 1776 or the global forums of today, one truth hasn't changed: real power doesn't need to hide in the shadows anymore. It just builds a stage, smiles for the cameras, and calls it progress. So now that you've seen the world's most secretive organizations, from Bavarian rebels to billionaire roundtables, tell me this: do you think these groups are really pulling the strings? Or are they just convenient myths to explain the chaos of money and power? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to keep exploring the hidden psychology of wealth, Make sure you subscribe to the Money Compendium and turn on notifications.